And the minute I'm done, I'm like, am I clear? They're like, yes. And so I disconnect one thing to make sure that they take the headphones off, and I go, but I'm still connected. I can still what's hearing at the final table. And I go right back to play the tournament. And now I got my money in bad, which is very rare for me. Jacks against aces. I mean, I had to as a turbo. I hit a jack. I got it in bad one more time. Maybe it was like ace 4, and the other guy called me with 6s. I hit that. And so I'm getting lucky, which is, not my usual modus operandi as far as getting my money in bad. But I'm hitting some hands, and yes, I admit I was very lucky. And, 2 hours later, now I have to leave the turbo where the blinds are going up this quick. I have to leave the turbo for half an hour to go do my commentary. I have to show up 8 minutes early or 7 minutes early. And so now I'm doing very live from the World Series, but I've been tracking it the whole time. I've been reading the updates as I'm playing. They're sending me the hands that are coming up. I'm listening to what's happening at the table. So I'm informed on what's happening over there. And I do that. So now I go live on ESPN again. And meanwhile, I'm in the tournament over there with chips. And we're getting close to the money. And I believe that I think we may have hit the money while I was doing while I was doing the commentary. So then, boom, I finish that. I go right back, and I'm still dressed in my suit, and you know what I mean? But it gives me an excuse to wear the Aria hat live on television, because I told ESPN, I said, listen, if you want me and I'm still a player, I'm going to dress like a player. Yeah. So they told all the players they can't wear any logos, any gear, but I'm an exception when I'm in a poker tournament. And so at least I got an excuse to get the Aria live on global television a couple times. And so then I make day 2. So then I think that was it for the night, but I'm hanging out for the coverage. But meanwhile, I make it to the end of the day. And I think there's about 25 of us left. So now next day, I have to do the commentary and play the tournament. And we get to the final table pretty quickly. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be final 4 tournament or 3 in this tournament. I'm going to have to leave for 20 minutes. Will the players at the table stop the tournament for 20 minutes for me? I don't even want to ask, but I'm going to ask when it comes to that. And so meanwhile, I've had to go into makeup and so I'm all ready to go. I'm all in my suit and ready to go. But I'm at this final table and I'm watching the countdown on when I'm going to get needed. And unfortunately for me, I busted in 6th place in the tournament. There were 2 final tables left as the main event final table. This was also the main event final table where they were going to finish it, I believe. Yeah. And so there's 3 tables that are left in that whole hall. There's the one when I left, there were 5 left. There was another one that had 5 left, and then there was the main event. And so so I busted 6th, unfortunately, and I go into my perch up there, and I'm really into just the main event, but I'm looking over, watching the other 2 final tables, which were basically right next door to us. And then I think they gave me a shout out. It might have also been my birthday that day. So they gave me a shout out for my birthday. They gave me a shout out for just busting 5th in a tournament, or 6th or whatever it was. It was all kind of a weird thing. And then I was able to just focus on, the commentary for there, because that was it.
Brilliant. Super competitive, we know. 16 cashes last year in the World Series. I think it was 12 the year before. I think there's only 1 year in the last 25 that you haven't cashed in one of the series. Where did the super competitiveness come from?
It came from, I talk about this in my autobiography. Very simple. I'm the oldest of 5, as I mentioned earlier in the interview. And what I didn't mention is I have ADD, and my athletic skills aren't as good as my brothers and sisters. So as the oldest of 5, watching my brothers and sisters flourish and basically get straight A's, and me getting C's, and then watching them flourish in athletics, they're all doing well in athletics, but I didn't have the same skills that they had. I had to hold on to something for my own sanity, right? When I'm 7, I had a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby in my family. For my own sanity, I had to be the best at games. And so every game we played, I had to be the best. So every game we played, I learned from an early age how to devise perfect tactics in all these games. Scrabble, and the fact that I studied Latin, I'm an excellent Scrabble player. All these games that required strategy and skill, backgammon, I learned how to become great at all these games. And so it was a natural progression for me to move into studying poker. All right, how do you become great at poker? All right, you do this, you do that, you do this, and so but that warrior in me, and when I would lose, that's where the poker brat was born. Because if my brothers or sisters rolled double sixes to beat me at backgammon, I was unbearable. Because what did I have left in my life? They were better than me at everything. And so I'd be like, oh my God, you rolled double sixes. That was unbelievable. How did you do that to me? Blah, 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 blah. And I almost made it not fun for me to play with, because if I lost, I was too negative. But that's where the competitiveness came from. And it showed itself in the early years in poker, and it still shows itself. But in the early years, like if somebody beat me one hand, I felt like, and if they outdrew me one hand, I felt like, oh, they're what else do I have left in life? They just beat me this one hand. And so, yeah, I had some issues I've worked through, but I still think, I still think that I can be a little bit bratty sometimes. Generally, there are some years where I show up, and it's not, and I just realize my position, and I enjoy that a little bit more. But most times I'm just, and as the series wears you down and you get tireder and tireder every day, more and more of the poker comes out.
Well, poker brat or not, you've raised over $50 million for charities, which is an absolutely incredible amount, and every credit to you. You got the biggest celebrities in the world are just at touch whenever. Do you ever get starstruck by somebody that you see and you think, oh, wow?
Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, I think, the first time I met President Clinton, I was definitely a little starstruck. I'm not sure that I get that starstruck anymore. I mean, I think the first time I met Ben Affleck, I was starstruck, and the reason why, he was with J-Lo at the time, and so him and J-Lo I felt like they were the two biggest celebrities in the world. And I remember it was, I think 2002 or 2000. I think it was 2002 at the Bicycle Club, where 01 had 30 players in the main event. And now the World Poker Tour had launched, and there were 700 players. We went from 30 players to 700. I walked in the room, being one of the biggest stars in poker, and they said, Sports Illustrated wants to talk with you. There were 3 news trucks from the 3 local stations in the parking lot. There was press buzzing. The room was just buzzing with people. And there was Ben Affleck playing in the tournament. And I just went by and I said, hey, Ben, welcome to poker. And he said, what am I, Phil? He quoted me from my own book. First of all, he knows my name. How does he know my name? Second of all, look, am I a lion, or I am he had some really cute thing to say. And I was like, holy cow, Ben Affleck knows me, and he's a fan of mine, and he's read my books. I was a little starstruck. Michael Jordan, super starstruck when I met him the first time.
Yeah.
And, and so, I mean, it happens with some of the world's biggest celebrities. But now a lot of times I know that now all of a sudden I'm not a starstruck, because I've met some of the biggest celebrities in the world.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun. All right, is this person cool or not? Generous randomly like a couple of years ago, randomly, and she loves poker, and she was just cool as could be. And so, I mean, she introduced me to Portia, just randomly ran into her, and she's like, Phil, oh, Ellen knows my name. That's cool. Meeting Tiger and hosting his event, and I remember the contest I've ever been in my life. I can tell you exactly when that was. Maybe I should tell that story. I'm
I'm
at the
listening.
Aria.
I'm listening.
I'm at the Aria Hotel, and I'd hosted Tiger Jam. I just finished fourth in a tournament, a heads-up tournament, or I guess officially fifth place in a heads-up tournament. And I'm exhausted because those heads-up matches just drain you. Exhausted. And I go up to my room at the Aria, and I tell my wife, honey, I want to order from Javier's Mexican. And it's the one place I had to go get the food. And I'd run into MJ on Friday. This was a Sunday. And I'm like, I told her, I said, honey, somehow I'm going to run into MJ. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? I said, I just have this weird vibe. And so I went down to pick up the food at Javier's. I did walk through the high limit area because that's where MJ hangs out. And then on the way back, I'm like, you know what? You're not going to, whatever. I did ask if he was at Javier's. So I did look for him twice because I thought it would happen. And I said, you know what? Screw this. Just take the fast way back up the escalator. You're not going to run into many people. You won't have to sign a lot of autographs and take a lot of pictures. Let's just get out of here quickly. So my food arrives. I take the escalator up at the Aria, and now I'm at the top of the escalator. And who turns the corner? Boom! It's Michael Jordan, and he's walking with this guy named Pops, who's like in his 70s, and they're walking 1 mile per hour step. Step, and I fly in the casinos, and I come flying up behind MJ with a bag of food in my hand, and 5 feet away from him, like, don't bother him. So I slam my glasses on, and I just decide to blow by him and ignore him because, Michael Jordan, everybody in the world stops him, give him some space. Because I know what it's like. I'm being stopped every day for, a couple weeks by that point. And I look over.
Oi, oi. I'm just going to...
And I'm like, hey, MJ, good to see you. He'd already seen me on Friday and said hello. And he nods, and I'm walking 90 miles an hour. Boom, I take the left turn, towards the steakhouse, but there's the private VIP doors there. I open.
Oi, I'm just going to interrupt.
Look behind me because I'm raised in Wisconsin. You want to be polite and open the door for people. So as I open the door, I noticed MJ's running. I mean, he's with Pops. They're like running. He should just be turning the corner.
Oi, I'm just going to interrupt. Because the last time we saw it to you, you finished 40th.
I finished 40th. I was gutted. I was really, really gutted about it. But looking back at it, when I watched the documentary back, David versus Goliath, so it didn't look that bad. But at the time, I was in my mind, it was just I had to win, and the reason why I lost was, I think, because I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to win, trying not to lose, if that makes sense.
And looking at it back, we all watched it coming back. Everybody loses in that spot as well.
Is that right?
Everybody, and we all talk to people, and there's no way getting out of it. So don't ever feel.
Yeah.
And we stood
it's
up.
Experience.
You were one hand away from making the last day of Goliath.
Yeah. Which
would have been a story in itself because as we saw the story, you never played cards.
Yeah.
You never played the game itself. You finished 40th out of 9,300, and then unfortunately the world stopped.
It did, so there was no way to get back out there and just keep flowing. So as a result of that, I literally, my poker story kind of ground to a halt.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play anything online.
Nope.
And then all of a sudden, here we are. It was a couple of weeks, three weeks back. I'm like, I'm gonna have to sit down with 7 people who have won out of 10,000 people who played the Hayemaker KO series, who won their week's game. I got to sit down with them, and they're good players. Obviously, they've won their rounds, so the best of 10,000 people online. But this is live poker, and hopefully, when the lights are on, when the camera's rolling, that feels like it's my domain. I like playing. I like the hype. I like the hype of it.
You've been to Vegas.
Went to Vegas.
Bit of a warm up.
It was a night. I got some good sparring out there. Like I said, it was sparring. It was poker sparring. I went into probably 10 competitions. I played every day, pretty much every day. Played for between 1 and 4 hours every day. Because literally I forgot how to play poker. I went out there, I played a couple of competitions. I was terrible. I was like, I really got to get my head around it. And slowly but surely I did. And I started just getting my feel, getting my flow. But You know, it was only till I came back to England, I came down to Vic and was just playing some cash games, and only it was till 2 nights ago I came here and I found it felt like I really found my rhythm. So I wanted to think, okay, that's it, I've got my rhythm. So yesterday I had a nice day off yesterday, didn't think about poker, didn't think of anything, haven't thought about poker, and here we are now, thinking about poker right now.
They've all made it through. It's going to be a little bit of a jovial competition. You're going to have a laugh and a joke about it as well. But also, you're playing for charity.
Yeah, exactly.
What, tell us about the charity?
Yeah, it's the National Tennis Foundation. It's a good charity. I was with a friend of mine in Vegas, and he was explaining to me some of the great work they do with kids who don't come from privileged backgrounds. They're getting them in tennis, who pays for the scholarships to universities. It's a great foundation. So, you know, I want to, if I win any money, that's where I'll be going to.
Has anybody else got any chance?
I don't know. They're all pretty good.
I saw your Instagram yesterday saying they're all playing for second.
Today is when it is crunch day, and I'm not nervous. I'm looking forward to seeing how I play. I think the first half hour, when I just started getting into the flow. If I felt like I felt 2 nights ago, how it works, I tried to make it as similar to my boxing experience as possible. You know, with boxing, you finish on a good spar. You finish where you're in there, you do all the things you want to do, then you think, okay, you might have scheduled, 2 more spars, but if you get the spar just right, you're like, okay, I'm stopping it there. And I came down there with 300 quid. I won 840 quid over a space of like 4 hours, but playing really disciplined, really picking my spots nicely. I was representing exactly as I wanted to on the table, and I thought, tell you what, that's exactly where I want to start how I finished here. So got up, cashed my chips up, and had a nice day off yesterday, and here we are looking to keep it flowing.
Well, it's going to start in a few minutes. So you're going to play with a smile on your face and entertain everybody?
Yeah. I'm going to have some fun with it. It's a good bunch of characters. There's females got through, which is nice to see. She said she was going to knock me out, which is fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's nice. I met a few of the guys already, and all of them are super confident.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they've been playing this online game when there's thousands of people entered, and they've won. So they're coming in on good form. Yeah. So everyone who's around the table has won a tournament in the last few weeks.
Well, it's been a fantastic promotion run by Grosvenor, so we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching you playing again.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
There's not 9,300 this time, there's only 8.
There's only 8.
In fact, hang on a minute. There's a spare space on the seat. It's a 900 table.
Get involved.
Why is there a spare seat?
You've got to fill it.
I'd definitely fill it. It's an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
Looking forward to commentating on this, because this should be an absolute brilliant game.
I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Dave, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Cheers, buddy.
Right. Tower and Jay have got a well-deserved break because they've been at it all day, and PK has, but he's not got his break yet, but he will do soon. So you've got me and Katie for the next couple of hours, or an hour and a bit, and then
good evening.
And then we've got special guest Chris McGuire coming in for a bit. And
I think I'm in here for a couple of hours with you first of all, and then I'll be in here for a couple of hours with Chris. So
they've all started with a million chips.
Have you ever had a million chips?
Yeah. Yeah. A few times.
Yeah, really looking forward to this, guys. So. Get active in
Chef
the chat
Brad, how you doing?
And,
don't make us ban you, Brad. We've got the button. We can ban you for another 10 minutes, mate. Behave yourself, please.
We have got the authority tonight to do the banning and do everything. So
Sebastian, is it Seb? Did you meet Seb? I didn't quite meet. Is he Seb or Sebastian?
He introduced himself as Sebastian.
Oh, okay. So we'll call him Sebastian. So he's got
Jack Aaron rather than Aaron.
Right.
It's Aaron. We've got all our qualifiers here. You can see the hands going on. We've literally just started, so
they've got on well, haven't they? We've all been mixing and have a little drink and a get together, and they've had a bite to eat, and everyone's got to know each other a bit more. So it's
exactly that. We've had a couple of hours, sort of almost like a little mini warm up, haven't we? To like ease the nerves,
break the ice a little bit,
break the ice, and then hopefully they can then go to the table and play like with freedom and feeling less nervous because they've all met already like behind the scenes. So it should be really good. Be a good night, and they're all free rolling at the end of the day. They're already guaranteed. And what have they looked up?
1,200 quid. Yeah. So, plus they're online. What have they won for the free roll? So exactly 300 quid more or something, or 400 quid more.
And actually, a lot of them have brought like extra family and friends, haven't they?
Yeah.
So there's like little row going on behind the scenes, and just enjoying the atmosphere. And the card room is really busy actually here, because we've got a lot of other comps going on, and the bounty comp, we've got the high roller final table going on just off the camera to one side. So yeah, really great atmosphere, really buzzing card room, really busy. Buzzing, the bar's busy. It's just been really, really great. Like, everyone's been chatting to David beforehand, so
he's done a lot of pictures, hasn't he, as well, to be
fair? He's done loads of pictures, loads of like. I'm assuming he's used to all of that. I've seen that sort of when I've worked with him before, so it's kind of it's been nice. It's been a good experience so far. So now they're just going to settle in for the first level, or first few orbits, and
work each other
get
out.
Going with the play. So
David peeled the king 8 off there in mid position. So that's really loose play. So you can imagine David's going to be in a lot of pots now. He's not come to fold, has he?
No, I hope that he's going to show his more patient side of the game, because we know he can attack.
But it just depends.
I think
how he's feeling.
Everyone knows he can play aggro. Everyone knows he can. He doesn't mind putting his chips in to put a bluff out there. He doesn't necessarily understand the dynamics of when to bluff correctly, he's sort of still finding his feet with that part of the game. But what's really good about him is that he's not fearful to try that out and to do it. But hopefully he will understand that the structure for this is really good. They're deep. They don't, their stacks are deep at the moment. He doesn't need to be kind of getting involved loosely at the start, and that he can show a bit of patience. But having said that, he might be stamping a little bit of authority on the game straight away and setting the scene, especially because they've had that the 2 hours in the bar beforehand, that he will know who is nervous. They've been quite upfront
he's good at reading
with
people,
him,
for sure.
And so he might sort of start with thinking, well, do you know what, actually now's my time to get ahead in the game from the off and get out of those gates rapid, rather than sort of being patient now, hoping he can rein it back later with the patience, perhaps. So
he won a few quid on the cash game the other night, and he said that he thinks the reason why he did so well was because he was having banter with everyone and conversations. So he'll probably be looking to start up conversations with people to get him in the same kind of zone he was in the other night, so it replicates itself.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, that's one of his strengths, right? So you have to play to your strengths on the table, and he's not going to understand all of the mathematics behind the game and a lot of the dynamics and post-flop play, but
the Razmat has a bit, the lights and the cameras and the action and the...
he's one that's going to always
thrive off the big occasions.
And some people will, kind of crumble on those... that sort of big stage as such, and actually a lot of these players won't have played on this feature table before, will they? So
I think only Richard King has been on the feature table before in his life, and David.
Yes, so they're the only ones that are going to be completely comfortable there. And actually, I think there's people that haven't even played live before, so it's interesting. If you just
so David's. So Richard's opened ace 8, and then David's called after Sam's completed, and he's been out flopped here. So it'd be interesting how he proceeds with this hand. Open raise that Richard just checks behind, which is a good check. Now David might win with a little bet here. He probably thinks he's got the best hand. Oh, sorry, the Queen 10 in the smalls bet. David's called. I think this is fine play. And I imagine the Queen 10's going to try and get a bit more value on the river, and David's going to call again, maybe.
Yeah, I think he calls this river here because
hopefully with David he doesn't go too big.
To him, he feels this is like a
he's
river,
got a nice hand.
It's
only a small
bet, so I think.
And he kind of shrugs his shoulders, and he kind of knows he's probably going to be beaten, and a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, he is unlucky there, but do you know what?
He played the hand all right,
he does, and it shows actually a vast improvement in his game, because I think before tonight I've seen him really inflate plots unnecessarily, in that sort of exact situation. He just sees his hand and he doesn't actually look at the ball texture and how his hand potentially can be beat. So he used to just play, I've got jacks, and go mad with them and start raising and not actually ever consider other options. So that's already really good, really good progress. I know he's been working on his game. I know you've worked on his game.
Yeah, I've spoken to him quite a bit.
Yeah,
recently,
I know. Like he was messaging me when he was in Vegas recently, and he was saying like he's playing some smaller comps out there, but trying to get back into the live game and get a feel for it again before tonight. So he has put in the work behind the scenes. So I'm not sure if everyone would be aware of that, but it's really good.
Should we give a bit of info on the guys that people might not be familiar with, the qualifiers? Who you spoke to? You know Kathy, don't you, from your game?
I didn't know her until tonight, but she plays online my game. She plays the free rolls, and sounds
never
like
played live. Did she say?
She's never played live before. She was a little bit worried about the actions and the doing things correctly live, and I just said to make sure that basically she takes her time, because there is no time bank, so you can take a little bit longer, but also the fact that just to enjoy it. I think the main thing is not to be nervous and just to enjoy it. That's probably when we've played our best, right? When you're actually enjoying the game.
Yeah. So Steve's bet the hijack with a gut shot with Jack 10. David's got ace Jack now, so I hope he folds his hand. Realises that even though it was quite nice before, it's not really hit the flop. David's get away with that. That's probably a fold that he wouldn't make a while ago. He'd probably just caught trying to catch his ace or his backdoor diamonds. Maybe.
Well, he used to be quite sticky. He never wanted to give up, and I think actually, if I'm honest, that came from his boxing background of always wanting. Like he's a winner by nature, isn't he? He wants to win, and he doesn't like. He feels, or he used to feel that by folding he was like defeated. He kind of had that. View of the situation, and I think over the course of time he's realised that actually you might not win that one hand, but it's not just about that one hand, it's about the whole game long term. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a great bet by Steve there, continuing with it with Jack 10. He turned his straight draw and decided to barrel off, and he actually got Aaron to fold his queen, so it's a great result for us if you're Steve. I think Steve said they're Bradford lads. Steve and his stepson and his sons come up to watch him, and he's Bradford lad, but they're all big Leeds. They're big Leeds fans. Go to Leeds. I spoke to obviously Richard King in C1. He's been on the circuit years, hasn't he? He plays the 500s, the 1Ks, the 300s.
He was the favourite going in today with the sportsbook. So.
What's this guy like? Leonard, mate, if you don't want to watch it, just turn over, buddy. There's plenty more things to do at night time than watch something you don't need to watch, buddy. So. Yeah, so Richard's I've known Richard years. Like he plays at Dusk Till Dawn, he plays in the G's, plays the GKPT stops all the time, and
there'll definitely be some players here that are way more comfortable with the game of poker and the live poker than others. There'll be some that settle in more quickly than others, but I think also there will be some that, because they're free rolling and because they've already won by being here and being on this table, they kind of might feel they've got nothing to lose and actually be the dark horse of it.
Probably,
Sometimes
the one who's the most relaxed has probably got the best chance.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just thinking to himself or herself that, I'm just going to enjoy the situation and enjoy the table and try and do my best. So.
It seems like, I can't hear the table, neither Trig or I can hear it, but it looks like they're having fun. It looks like they're laughing, they're friendly. Hopefully they're starting to relax a little bit more now. They're sort of 20 minutes into the game, so. And it's early. The blinds are 5k, 10k. They've got $1 million starting stack. And actually, do you know what? That starting stack and these blind levels could pose a different dynamic to what even those most regular players are used to. Sometimes they might think, oh gosh, that's thrown you because you're not used to that starting stack and you're not used to them blinds. And they might. Make mistakes based on those levels rather than anything to do with the play.
Yeah, sure.
That is going to be something.
So Aaron's opened the button, I think, and He's been called by Jack in the big blind, and it's gone check on the flop. Obviously, this stream tonight is going to be a little bit different because of the novelty element in it. There's probably going to be more joking banter from me and Katie rather than analytic play, because these guys are just on a free roll and David's there. And it's not going to be a usual breaking down hands analytically, I guess.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
from me and you, is it?
we will do a little bit of that if there's like
Later
a
on,
big interesting hand clash going on, but there's not going to be many of the players that are, I don't think, that will be doing that necessarily in their own heads either.
So ace-8 is going to take this pot.
I think I'm guessing it's going to be pretty ABC, maybe a few too many players trying to bluff at times. David will also be used to players, trying to do a bluff on him and they want to show him a bluff. They want to almost have that kind of what is it like when they where they got bragging rights after male. Sort of say
alpha male
not even
stuff.
Necessarily like the alpha male, but like where they can go home to their mates and say,
rights,
I bluffed David Hay. Look, he's on stream, and like that sort of thing. So he's going to be aware of all of that as well.
Yeah, the prize pool's just running across the bottom of the screen now, so everybody's got 1,200 quid locked up. Is it £5 for the winner? Right? Yeah, £5 for the winner. And they also won some money for winning their free rolls on the respective days.
Yeah, so we've just been asked in the chat box what is the prize pool for tonight on the table. It's actually going across the bottom of the screen, scrolling across. So whoever wins tonight is going to be winning £5,000. They've already won some money on their actual free roll that they won. Most of these players, just to mention, they're sat here because this is the final table of the Hayemaker event, but they've actually won a complete free roll each week to get here. And some of these guys they've won 1,500 out of 1,500 runners. 2,000 runners. One of them was up. I think the first week was the smallest amount, and that was even 1,200. So you're not talking, small amounts of runners they got through. Kathy said to me she beat 1,800 runners to get here. So it's impressive. It's really impressive that they're there anyway. They've already proved they can play the game. They're not here on complete fluke.
No, they're here on merit for sure.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win then, Katie?
Richard's
got a bit of favourite, hasn't he?
Yeah, it'd be stupid to go against the grain of what the favourite is, but he's got a good seat draw as well, to be honest, I think. I think there's a couple on here that are certainly dark horses. I know seat 4, Sam, is a good player.
He's played well so far.
He has I'll just wait for this.
So David's got the ace-3 of hearts. He's just limped in. What we spoke about last night, I tried to get him away from limping the 5-6 of hearts, because if it's going to go multi-way, you want the highest suited cards so you can call to someone else.
Yeah, this is the trouble here though. He's now,
he's given the lead away in the pot.
He has.
Yeah, but he's still going to call, and we're going to see a flop, I think, and hopefully we can connect.
I think Kathy folding the king queen off here is potentially a little bit of settling in, kind of. She's understanding the table dynamics. Maybe doesn't want to get involved too early on when she's still feeling.
What's David done, by the way? Is he called here, or is he?
He's called.
Oh, and the flops. Oh, he missed the flop.
And then he's checked.
Great.
Flop.
It was a great flop for the isolator for Jack. So I thought I played it all right. Limp call, check fold the flop or fold the flop. I think it's fine.
Especially at these early stages where you're so deep, I know he is technically the short stack on the table now, but he's got 85 big blinds. I mean, what we've tried to instill in him recently is to say to him, that's not short stacked. There's plenty of play. It's early on. There's no need to overinflate pots. You can actually you can play post flop on with these deep stacks,
So Sam's made a good start. He's up to 1.2 million already.
Yeah,
That's the guy you know,
think
isn't it?
Sam is the dark horse. Actually,
okay.
I think he's a good player. He knows what he's doing. Just to give you a little bit of background, when we were all doing the couple of hours sort of icebreaker and hosting the qualifiers, Sam actually decided to go and sit on a cash table, and he's earned £1,000 sitting on the cash table just in that couple of hours. So he's definitely knows what he's doing. Yeah, and he kind of used his time wisely to make sure he already was leaving with a nice profit today, regardless of this event. He's quite quiet, and I think he will kind of keep himself to himself. He will be watching and observing the table all the time. He would be one of my picks, actually.
Yeah. If anyone's had any bets on it, let us know what bets you're on so we can see what sort of the most popular
Mick the
winner
Mod
is.
is saying he's backed Sam. I think that's a good choice. Yeah,
I bet Richard at 5-1. Personally,
I mean,
I had a little bet on him, small bet.
Yeah, I can understand that, obviously. And Richard has, got a great seat at the table.
So Aaron's opened here to 30k with his King Queen of Hearts, perfect. Richard's call, which is a nice
It's a big open
yeah,
for early position.
They seem to have gone in the 3x mould now, so
yeah.
they've set the bar at 3x and everyone's kind of following trend, aren't they, and sticking in the 3x.
That tends to happen, doesn't it?
It does
always
happen
sort
a
of
lot when it's like that, yeah.
So we can see he's hit the king, likely to c-bet this. I decided
to
check.
That's
That's
fine.
interesting.
It's all right, a bit
good,
tricky.
yeah.
And the 7s is coming for a bet as Richard now. And now Aaron's going to definitely just call. At least he's not folding, is he?
I would like to think not. Otherwise, why are you playing King Queen?
Yeah, the difference.
What other flop you're going to want to hit?
The difference between this stream and another stream is, if me and Katie were doing a UKPT main event, we'd know most of the players on the table, wouldn't we? But we don't know what to expect from this group of players at all.
No.
We don't know anything.
Interesting turn card with the diamond coming in. That might slow things down slightly. Richard's going to be checking behind here.
Quick check.
And 3 hearts on the root, paired board now. Shouldn't really be that much difference because who's not going to be playing many 3x in your hand. And we see that he's coming for a bet. I mean, this stinks of strength to me.
I quite like it though, because it's so small the bet, he might get paid off with Richard's exact hand, how he played the hand by checking the flop. Richard might think he's got some Jack 10s, Queen Jacks in his range where he's missed his straight draw or anything like that.
I mean, I'm folding the 7s here because it stinks of strength to me. The fact that it looks like you've been trapped as well, and the diamonds have got in, the paired board. Our 7s can never be good on that board.
Yeah, good fold.
It's not really. What many bluffs are in there?
Only the Jack 10 and the Queen Jack missed, or the Queen 10 if he wants to call hands like that.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that.
Maybe a hand with the bare ace of diamonds that might have continued, like check called the flop, and then picked up a diamond draw on the turn. But I'm not so sure even they would be playing that dynamic this early on. And so I'm being asked who are the commentators. It's myself, Katie Swift, and my team pro mate Richard Trigg. We will be commentating together for the next for this session, so hour and a half, and then I'll be joining another commentator after that. So we'll be here, just happy to answer any questions in the chat box, and giving our insight to the play and the dynamic of this very, very unique event.
Yeah, it is
very unique.
Very, very unique.
We've never had this, have we? We've never had this kind of, the free roll series that has led up to this particular final table. Each one having won their free roll seat and literally having to win it outright. There was no, it was an online free roll, so there was no sort of deal making being done and kind of you win it and go on to the event. It was you win it and you now have an invite to this event, invitational only, to play with David Hay himself.
So Richard got C-bet through there after flopping a flush draw. So the stacks are just up now, so David's the lowest stack now, but he's still got 83 big blinds, so he's perfectly fine. Sam's made a nice little start, increasing his stack by 20%, and the rest are about starting stack. Does anyone think Steve Chadwick in seat 2 is a bit of a Steve Bruce lookalike from about 10 years ago?
I don't know who that is.
The football manager who got sacked by Newcastle a while ago.
I don't know who that is.
He's definitely a bit of a Brucey lookalike, I think. Seat 2. He was telling me a story that because his name's so similar to Stephen Chidwick, the Crusher, one of his cashes when he won a tournament in Vegas, the Steve that's playing now, got attributed to Stephen Chidwick, so he had to ring up Hendon Mob to cancel it to get it straightened up. Yeah. So Jack's raised with the 3s. Richard's 3-bet to Ace Jack offsuit. So Richard's probably the only guy or person at the table that would be probably 3-betting these hands this early and just trying to isolate people with hands and play in position. That's like not an advanced strategy, but it's something that players who are recreationals might not think about doing. So
I think he will be able to recognise spots far quicker at this sort of table dynamic than maybe some of the other players. And that's not me discrediting any of the players. It's just that some of them don't have the background for live. Some of them don't have the most sort of dynamic backgrounds like Rich does. It's just one of them where I think he will recognise those spots and he will take them. I think he's the one that if anyone was going to force the play successfully, it would be him at the table. But I do think that with slight position on him, Sam could, if it carries on and continue, I think Sam will be the one that observes that and will adjust to it. And it's about making those adjustments. So hopefully we will.
So Sebastian's raised 25k and Sam's called 25k. So Sam's called now with a king queen high, which is pretty optimistic, to be honest. Sebastian's cards are hidden. But I'm guessing Sebastian's got the best hand. Oh, peels the queen off now with his king queen high, so I'm imagining that he's definitely not going to fold now. So Sebastian's checked now when the flush cards come in, and Sam's had a bet with his top pair now. It's interesting to see how Sebastian proceeds now with an unknown holding. We don't know his hand yet. And Sebastian's called, but we still don't know his cards, but that should be a good card for Sebastian there, knowing that Sam's not got a club in his hand. So maybe it might go check. I'm pretty sure it'll go check now. If Sebastian's got a club, which looks like he has, maybe he's going to win the pot.
It's time to check what suits you got by the rim. I'm sure it wasn't. Just you never know. I'll double check. I literally had a look at my cards a few times in the hand. I'll instantly forget it. I've got the mind of a goldfish. Not long after. What can you do? Well, it's not having it, like,
yeah, I wonder if you raise that and you folded, wouldn't it? Yeah, but the thing is, like, you don't have it laps, you probably think I'm going to do
Like that river, and he just like snaps you off like some flashing like, oh, why would I do that?
Okay, so we can see we've got the ace 7 off and the ace 8 suited here. Raised to 25k and Aaron calls with the suited ace on the button, and Jack decides to come in the big blind with the ace 4. So 3 to a flop, 3-4 Jack rainbow. So the ace 4 actually goes ahead now. Checks his option, so plays in flow over and checks round. Interesting card with the 5 because now all of them obviously have the straight draw with their ace, ace 4 with the pair. And it looks like that Jack is going to lead now, take the initiative to lead for 35k. Sebastian decides to call. He obviously, if he hits the 6, has a higher straight as well, so probably why he's decided to call with his open ender. King on the river, bricks off. Probably gonna see a check here from Jack, I would imagine, having been called. Potentially might just go check. Looks like he's thinking of coming in for a bet though. See what sizing he makes it. 65k, so Sebastian has a pretty easy fold here really, given the fact that the term was bet into 2 players, so he does make the fold, and Jack wins quite a nice pot there, 220k pot, and goes into the chip lead as a result of that pot. So we've got 1.2 million for Jack, down to 800,000 for David. So early days, only been playing half hour or so. And Chatbox is asking, is that really David Hay? Yes, it is. It's David Hay playing from all the free rolls that have been happening over the last few months online. There's been 7 different free rolls for the Hayemaker series, and this is the final table. So each of the players at this final table have won their free roll to be invited along to London. We are live from London playing the final.
Anything happen? Have I missed anything?
No, welcome back.
Thank you. So Jack and Sebastian are the only ones over starting stack. David's lowest stack, but still plenty of play, and everyone else is hovering about the same.
Yeah, it's very early days. I don't think we'll see fireworks at all yet. They're very deep stacked, you know.
I don't think
unless there's a massive cooler or something, I can't see anyone actually inflating pots or going broke yet.
Mad,
it's, you know, they're still settling in. It's you know.
So Sebastian decided not to raise the ace 5 of clubs under the gun. think it's fine. You can raise if you like. It's not a bad play if you want to raise to 20 or 30k, but folding's fine when it's 8-handed and a lot of players to get through. I don't think David is playing. I don't know if he's playing the Goliath or not, but he said he might play the grand final on Friday or tomorrow. So he might be playing that, depending on it. Obviously, he's very busy and. So the blinds are up now to 5 and 15k.
Blind levels are half hour, so 30-minute blind levels. So really nice structure for them all to be able to actually play, play poker out rather than like a crapshoot. So really nice structure this.
Oh, Carolyn's rooting on Steve Chadwick. He's a nice guy. I spent a lot of time with Steve before the fight, before it started. And his stepson and his son's with him, rooting him on. But he was a bit too camera shy. He didn't want to do anything on the camera before, bless him. So he said he likes to be out of the spotlight. So yeah, Carolyn. Hopefully he's going to do really well. Jack's raised the 9s from the cut off, and Sebastian's going to defend the ace deuce off, which is fine. 4-7-7. So from a game theory perspective, 9s you can check back or you can bet, no problem. Obviously, if you bet the 9s, you're worried that someone might have a 7 in the big blind and start check raising you and putting a lot of pressure on. So that's the argument for checking back, obviously.
I like the bet here because we've just seen Jack betting a hand that you just missed, where he had the ace 4 and he'd hit a 4 and he was, betting it. And I feel like if he's going to take that line there, he can credibly take the line here.
Yeah. So Seb's decided to try and exploit this.
Exactly that. So now
and raise. So Jack's probably still going to call, but he's not in love with it anymore. He's a bit wary now. But he's still going to probably call the extra 50k.
Yeah, I think so.
But this is Seb showing a bit of experience in poker, knowing that his range of hands, he should have more 7s in them than
absolutely.
Jack will.
But would you be raising at a 7 here in the big
that's
blind?
I
think
maybe not. So.
The bit that doesn't make sense when you run a bluff. I like to think the story needs to make sense, and I always say to people, if you're going to take the line of a bluff, you need to make sure it's authentic. And actually, if you're in the big blind here and you have called pre-flop with a 7 in your hand, once you've hit that flop, are you really going to check raise that flop?
Yeah.
Are you going to let them loose and let them off?
We don't know what percentage of the time, and mostly, you're probably going to call.
I think you're just going to check call and see a turn and try and let them do another street of betting and work that way. It's kind of I think
the problem with the hand that Seb's chosen to bluff with, he got it through, so he did great. He did really well there. He's going to show the bluff. Bit of maybe nervous energy kicking in there where you show the bluff.
I think so. Maybe a little bit of an experience as well.
Maybe his heart's going,
and maybe he wants to
he
set
wants
up an image. Actually, maybe he's got that sort of image where he thinks, do you know what, this isn't going to be bad for the game if I show a bluff now and actually show the table. Do you know what, I'm here to play. It could work in his favour if he gets a run of cards now and the table now have seen that. It could be,
the problem with the ace, the only thing I'd say about using the ace deuce as the bluff is you're trying to target hands with an ace in them. So you're trying to target his ace queens, ace kings that are no pair. So if you've got an ace in your hand, obviously you're blocking them from having it. You're stopping them from having as many combinations as the hands are going to fold. So usually in that spot, I'd probably pick a hand without an ace in to do it if I was going to start bluffing there.
I also don't think
he got it through.
I also don't think I'd be showing the bluff to the only other person on the table that's got the similar stack to me as we're sort of the chip leaders at the table. I think to me that's a little bit of inexperience showing through, and showing that he's kind of almost feeling so relaxed as if it's like a home game environment, and perhaps he comes from a home game environment where they do all show bluffs.
The problem is now is when he might have a spot to bluff again, will he want to pull the trigger knowing that everyone's seen that last bluff?
Exactly.
So it might make him a bit reluctant to do it again,
Yeah, I think as well it's kind of set the scene for.
So that's Kathy's a bit of inexperience. She just folded to no bet there, just folded without when she could have checked. So that's showing an online player compared to a live player. So But the more they play, the more she'll get used to it.
That was the one bit where I think Kathy said that she was the most worried about playing live, because she said it doesn't do it for you. It doesn't show you what you can do. It doesn't do it for you. Whereas she's used to like literally clicking buttons online, and she's, you know, got good experience online. But when you transfer to a live setting, sometimes some of your experience in the game of poker kind of goes out the window, because you're so worried about what you should be doing in terms of when you bet, what chips are what, like how the action goes. You know, it is different, and even the calculations of the stacks, you need to be aware of your stack size at all times when you're live, and other people's stacks. Obviously, when you play online, it's there in black and white. You know, it automatically adjusts.
Well now, can't you? So
absolutely. Yeah, it does all the mathematics for you, kind of thing. Even to the point when you play online, it's a great way to learn the game. If anyone's watching that hasn't played, online is great, because it tells you the hand strength even on the table.
Of course, so David's going to have a little bluff here now. The small blind's checked, and Sam with the jack has made a good check call here.
Do you know what? This is where Sam will come into his own in these blind on blind spots against David, who probably is the least experienced. The least experience with the blind on blind.
We did a lot of big blind on blind stuff last night actually, and I was explaining to him that, like, if he's in the big blind and it's limped to him, his ballpark's kind of like the 3-7 raggedy flops, whereas if he's in the small blind and completes the
higher end,
the Broadway cards and the aces are his kind of ballpark. So think which flop's better for which person.
I just think that Sam has got a really good position on the table, because he's going to potentially earn a lot of chips off of David in those blind on blind spots. If I'm being brutally honest, I think that could be a weakness, and he could pounce on that. And also, even when he's on the button, you look at who the blinds will be when he's on the button, and when he's in cut-off. You know, like he's got a great seat on the table, and a lot of it is seat draw on the table.
Oh yeah,
when
makes a massive difference.
You can take these spots far easier when you've got a great seat draw. So, I mean, I know I've said about Sam before, but I kind of had a feeling he would potentially do well before I saw the seat draw, and now I've just seen that hand. You can see it even more. I mean, obviously he did hit the jack, but I don't think he would have needed to hit the jack to then have that hand go.
So now Steve's out raising to 2x, which is more of a standard raising in tournaments, and this is David swapped a flush draw here. Aaron's got top pair, and Steve's got a middle pair, basically. So David's checked the small blind with his flush draw. Aaron in the big blinds, probably going to check again, and then it might go check, but Steve's going to have a pop at it with the fives, which is fair enough.
Don't mind this,
He's got the betting lead, he raised pre-flop.
He can credibly rep the ace, can't he? So I think that when David calls here, it looks like a draw, it looks like either a straight draw, a flush draw, or even a combo of both. It's, you know,
now Aaron's in a bit of a tricky spot now, though, isn't he?
He is.
After the guy who raised before the flop C-bet, and
I can see him just
David's
calling here, which he does.
If he folded, it wouldn't be the worst fold in the world either, with being three-way par.
Up there, don't they? They look like little pop-ups at the bottom. So the 10 of clubs.
So David's thinking about, has he checked? Yeah, he's checked already.
Doesn't change anything in
it
terms
should go
of
check really the spot. But
I mean,
wow,
looks like
Steve's
Steve is going to double barrel it.
Go for it. He could get two folds there, you know.
He could.
David will fold his flush draw.
I mean, in technically he should.
Yeah,
he should get two folds. He should be folded. The thing with David here is he's stuck in a sandwich.
He wouldn't do that.
He wouldn't have normally done that.
He wouldn't have done that 18 months ago. So
no, he would have definitely got sticky there. He wouldn't have realised like the equity with only one card to come. Being lower, but also he wouldn't have realised the fact that he is in a sandwich with he's not closing the action to see the river card. He's got Aaron behind him who could, you know, boost it up, raise it up.
Fair enough, he has called, so he does think Steve might be bluffing a lot too much on this kind of run out. But if he checks again and Steve fires one more time, this will be almost impossible to call. if Steve goes for it again.
I think Aaron will bet this. He's been seen to bet
so
the river
he's
before,
little
hasn't
bits
he?
and bobs, yeah.
He sort of likes to put a little. He likes to.
A blocker bet, a little
He
blocker
likes
bet out
to
there.
get to the river and then.
Yeah. Wow.
Does
Steve
he
pulls the
actually
trigger
think
now,
he-
and
Yeah,
he can't
he's
do no. Fair enough. Aaron kind of. He bet that amount to block himself from being bluffed, didn't
I
he?
think
Really?
so.
And it worked. If he'd have checked, Steve might have bet 500, and he might have been forced.
And by
to fold.
taking that down, he's gone to chip leader with 1.3 million. I think that's kind of going to be his dynamic of, calling pre, calling flop, calling turn to get to the river, and then
trying to block that.
Yeah,
it's not a bad
I
tactic
think so.
in this kind of field, because a lot of people are more confident in betting 3 streets than they are on raising a river once someone's shown a bit of strength.
I mean, it's so rare for someone to raise a river on a complete bluff, isn't it? And I don't think we're going to see that in this dynamic.
Probably not. You never know.
You might do. I mean, there's certainly players at this table that would credibly.
And I guess Aaron was so confident there that if he did raise, he was beaten, so he could just fold his hand easily if Steve came over the top of him.
Yeah. Big smiles, looking really confident, isn't he? Really happy there. Kathy still looks a little bit nervous, I'm sure.
But it's the first time playing live. When I first played live back in 2004 or 3 maybe.
Yeah.
My hands were shaking like a leaf.
Oh my God, mine too.
I was so nervous.
I remember I folded top set of queens. I was that nervous once, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Just fold.
And
like,
someone says you played it badly, and you get even more nervous, and you just want to be out there, don't you?
That was my first game.
When you bust out your first tournament, it's a relief, isn't it? You feel like the weight's off your shoulders. Oh, it's crazy. So I can imagine, and I've been through what Kathy's going through now, playing her first live.
Do you know what I like about what she's doing though? Is that she's giving herself time to adjust. She's giving herself time to settle in. She's not rushing. And she's not getting involved in loads of pots and limping and just dwindling her chips by, leaking them all over the place. She's kind of just thinking, well, do you know what? I'll pass a few blinds, I'll pass around a few orbits, settle in, and I'm getting used to my cards. The thing is with this table as well, she's been told she's got to put the cards in the box, and it's kind of all this. She's sitting back and relaxing and making sure she's watching the table. She's very engaged, isn't she?
Yeah. Wow, so this is a flop. He's got a flush draw against top pair. So Aaron's opened the 10-4 suit with getting a bit frisky, even though he's on the button, and Jack's defended King 5. So this could potential to be a nice juicy pot.
Yeah.
So Jack's going to call, which is the best play to make. Queen on the turn, potentially. Whether Aaron bets again, he probably should check back from a theory standpoint. And now, I think Aaron will probably have a little stab at this if Jack checks again. But it's conceivable Jack will just want to bet something like 50,000 or 40,000 or something.
Yeah.
It's checked, so now this is a good check because it's given Aaron the initiative to bluff the spot, and Jack's going to just call it pretty fast and win the pot. So I like how Jack's played that. He's realised that the hearts have missed, Jack 10's missed, 9-10's missed, Jack 9's missed. So every draw's missed. So instead of betting his King 5, which you can't really get called by anything, he's giving him the initiative to bluff the river. So I really like how Jack's playing so far, to be honest. He got bluffed off the hand with the 9s, but...
Oh, do you know what? We all know it's better to make a bad fold than a bad call, isn't it?
Well,
it's he's not wanting to risk those chips early when he knows the structure's so good. It's got a half-hour clock. He's got a plenty big enough deep stack. He's not needing to get involved in those sort of
computations.
Where he's just he could be beat.
David's come in with a raise, I hope. No, just a call with his ace 5.
They started with 1 million chips. That was the.
Jack's decided to raise here to 50. It looks like with his ace queen, which is a good play. 45k, putting pressure on David's limping hands. So David's going to defend in position. Hopefully for David's point.
Oh, nice.
Wow. David's
he's out flopped
top 2
him
now. And
Jack's got a big enough hand here where David could get paid.
He could literally double him up.
He could literally. It could be role reversal of their stacks by the end of this hand, couldn't it? You know.
So he's going to bet. Was it 40,000 around that mark? We'll see in a minute.
Also, the fact that David has come in for a limp with this hand rather than a raise might have thrown Jack, and he might not put him on an ace.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
So you could easily limp with like a middling pair, couldn't you? Yeah. So he could be thinking, well, actually, David could be limping with 7s, 8s, 6s, 7s, 8s, and
oh my god!
Oh no!
This is a very big. This is a cooler.
This is
trouble. This is very big trouble. To be honest, I don't know how he's going to get away from.
God, I don't know how he gets away from this. No, this is wow, what a turn.
Oh my gosh. Without the queen, he's probably going to double up, and I don't know how he's going to get away with it. Jack's probably going to bet 100,000 now.
Specifically put Jack on ace queen, can you? Like, I know he raised pre, but
yeah.
Oh gosh.
David's loving life. He's ace 5. He thinks he's trapping, and he was until that card. Now he's.
Oh, and this pot's going to get massive. It can.
So David calls now. It's 350, and then David might decide to just move all in now.
Wow.
And he'll be in big trouble. But no, he's just called again, which I
like.
In his mind, he's still trapping, so he wants Jack to keep firing away.
Needs a 5.
Oh,
no.
What a brick.
Wow.
If it was a heart, maybe he doesn't,
I was going to say,
lose a lot more, and if it was a king, maybe he doesn't lose as much more.
I think he doesn't go broke if it's a king, he doesn't go broke if it's a heart. I think it's really hard not to go broke now on this board, if I'm honest.
If you don't
the
get
pot
your chips
now,
you made a mistake, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
even
the pot's 350. Potentially, if Jack bets tiny,
he might just call.
Well, it just opens the doors, doesn't it?
If he just calls,
I mean, if he just calls.
Wow, he's just going to call. That's great. How he's not gone broke there.
Did he raise? Oh, he did raise. No, he did raise. He min raised to 300k.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's done the min raise rather. He thinks he's winning. He wants to try and get the value in, like from another race.
I'm almost pleased that he raised.
Yeah.
Even though he lost a hand, I think it's better. It's definitely better to raise on the river there than just call, of course.
You have to think about what are you wanting to get paid, Ryan, and he's been in all the way with his raise pre.
If Jack had ace king, it goes the same way, but David dragged the pot in, so it's just very unlucky turn card.
I mean, I go broke there. I think with the ace 5. I don't min raise there. I make I'm in. So. I think the fact that he's still sat there with 200k is like
a bonus. A free roll on the free roll.
He's literally free rolling the free roll, exactly that.
So anything now is a bonus, to be honest.
I mean, it's a good point. Tango fam in the chat box says about limping with the ace 5 in the hijack. I think David has shown that he's sort of implied the limp strategy on multiple hands now, so rather than raising with such a deep stack, he has gone for limp strategy. It's just one of them, but if you're gonna limp those hands, you need to limp all of them. It's one of them that you
now he's open 40 off a 180k stack.
Yeah, this isn't good. This isn't what you would want him to be doing
with this. So I guess Richard's going to raise this and get it in.
Yeah, I mean, we can't see the cards, but you're not raise folding, are you, with a 220
Richard's
stack?
Probably going to make it 120, 160, and then if David puts it in, obviously he's calling, and then.
I prefer to see him just open jam when he's
that's it.
Going to be all in and make
ace
sure
jack
that they
Richard
call.
And
what's he got here? Maybe like a king queen type hand or a much lower, you reckon?
King 10.
King 10. Wow.
That's a bit of a sign of the last hand, I think. Hangover of the last hand.
Yeah. Oh no.
Well, it's going to be David out. So. He's going to need some runners, so he's dead now. Nut flush.
No good. That is unlucky. The ace 5 was the hand that did it, but
I think he maybe carried a bit over from that ace 5 hand onto the next hand. Because he still had 15 bigs. It might have been a bit of lack of patience or a bit of a A bit of, not
like
tilt, but...
Yeah, a little bit tilt, if we're honest, a little bit tilting, maybe not readjusting to the stack size and thinking, right, okay, let's wait and see a bit out. I mean, he's got the whole table to get through, and that's the thing with when you do lose a pot in these cooler situations, you can recover, you don't need to see a picture card and just run with it. You need to still have hands where, and if you're going to raise off of that stack, it's kind of, your open door to be jammed on. It's, the exit hand I think could have been avoided if I'm
that was
critiquing
that was
brutally.
That was the ace-5 hand bore a lot of it. A lot of why he busted was because of the ace-5.
Definitely.
But that's just experience of keeping your emotions in check, isn't it? That comes with experience as well.
So
at least someone's going to win $5,000. That's
absolutely, At least we know that one of the qualifiers are going to
have the jackpot.
Yeah, they're going to have it. And David, obviously, he won't be taking home the cash prize that he's won. That will go to charity. So, it's better than nothing for charity. Yeah, and it's nice for the qualifiers. They've all, got that ladder. They've all laddered a couple of £100 by David's bust out. So they're all happy. They're all moving around a bit.
Making space on the table.
They're probably a little bit gutted though, because they probably would have wanted
man after my own heart.
Yeah. They probably would have wanted to play with David for longer though, and had that experience longer. So it is a shame about that, Cooler, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And obviously, for the viewing numbers, we would like him to hang around a bit longer. But I don't think he made a mistake in the ace-5 hand here. I thought he played it all right, and he just got unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, it could have bloated and been all in on the turn, couldn't it? Really? So it's kind of.
Maybe they'll just chop it up on the break.
Yeah, I think David was actually really wanting to win this and get the job done kind of thing. He wasn't wanting to just go out. The ace-5 v the ace-queen is just a complete cooler the way it played out as well. The fact that he'd done the limp strategy pre-flop, that's what he went with, but even if he raises pre, he's not then folding to a 3-bet from the ace-queen. I wouldn't be saying he should fold ace-5 in position pre, so he then would hit the 2-pair, and actually it would be all over by the turn anyway.
I mean, from a technical standpoint, he probably shouldn't have been in there with ace-5, but that's something that you gain from experience. He's probably played 20 times in his life, so he's still lacking experience. So this is an interesting run out now. So Richard's rivered the flush, and Sam flopped trips. So Richard's got the best hand. Depending on what size Sam bets, Richard is the type of person who would definitely raise this. But he bet 75 into 200, so Richard might think and make a raise here, which I think he has
raised
done.
It.
Oh no, he just called. It's fine. So he's going to win the pot. So Richard's had a good couple of minutes, hasn't he? Taking David out with the ace-jack for 200k, and now he's got another 250k.
Yeah, he's up to 1.6 million here.
So
he's the one
favourite.
that's going to.
He's definitely the one to beat now.
Yeah. He's the one that will be playing those type of hands, the 8-10 suited, and he will know where he's at during a hand as well. Like, there's going to be other players that perhaps wouldn't have the experience on how to play those hands post-flop and take them through the streets.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of dynamic is going to be crucial to getting the job done actually on this particular table.
If anyone's family or friends of any of the players, do you want to? You could give us a bit of information about them, or you could say who you're rooting on for, or anything like that, and we'll pass a message on for you or something, or anything like that.
Okay, so Jack picks up the jacks.
Yeah, so Jack's chip leader, is he now? Just from Richard, is he? 1.7 versus 1.6.
Yeah, just from
so
David.
Richard's got a good seat now. He's got the chip leader on his left now.
He has,
on his right, sorry, and he'll be able to cause him quite a lot of problems.
Absolutely, but early position here, so Jack raises with the jacks. Nice raise, 45k.
Not much out there against him.
Sam picks up the king-queen suited. He'll be calling here,
call.
and Aaron finds the ace-king just flat. So that's actually interesting. I
think it's all right. I think
it's fine. It's just interesting.
Your hand if you flop a pair.
Do you know, something that Aaron is tending to do is kind of trap him with these bigger hands. With trappy. Ace X, you know, he's kind of not actually giving away the strength of his hand by 3-betting pre or by, you know,
for sure.
betting out and things.
I think this is a bit of a loose call from Sam with the king queen on the bottom of hearts without any flush draw possibilities.
I think he could
especially
easily
to an early position opener. So somehow Jack's managed to get 2 callers here, so he might be a bit worried that his jacks are still good. But with 2 spades on the board, there's still a lot of draws that can get there. So
interesting turn with the spade coming in, and Aaron's got the ace of spades.
Yes, it is, and Jack's got the jack of spades. So
it's not one that I don't think Aaron's going to give up. We could actually see him leading here.
So he likes these little leads.
He likes these little, and it is another little blocker. Bet leads 75k into 320.
But
so
he does his job because Jack can't raise this hand with what he has. He has to just call this hand. He can't raise it. The board's too dangerous for him to raise.
Jack might also be feeling like he's got the backup of having the jack of spades. Potentially.
But then it's a 3-way pot as well. So, like I said before, he's sandwiched in 2 of him. So it wouldn't be the most crazy fold if he decided to fold, but I expect him just to call.
Paired board as well. That's going to hit a lot of big blind ranges, isn't it? So he may have already got there with a baby flush, potentially.
Just having a break, then an hour break.
Oh, this is interesting. Sam was cold.
Wow. He's got a plan, hasn't he, in this hand?
Yeah, well,
so Jack folded the jacks, and Sam's continuing to float. So float into anyone who's unfamiliar with some technical terms is just calling in position with a bad hand to represent that you've got a good hand, so you can bet on the river.
Brick river, really, and
did you go check? Oh, Aaron bet again, and Sam folded. So Aaron's got the job done. He's got jacks to fold, and he's took that pot without hitting his flush. So
nicely played.
So we've
seen Jack now folding the 9s on a 7-7-4 flop, and now folding jacks on a 5-5-8.
Yeah.
Well, I
think they're both tricky hands for him, though.
They are. Collared, absolutely collared. Do you want to?
Yes. Don't worry about it. It's all it is, isn't it? Just go up, just go there. I didn't even say hello. I was like, just crack on. Do your thing. You right here?
So guys, we actually have David now in the chat box. If you come in, I'll put the camera in.
I've just finished crying now. I've wiping the tears away.
Oh.
The captain hat's been flushed down the toilet.
Oh, so yeah, you just were collared. It's just one of them things. Both Trig and I said that we would have gone broke with the ace-5 because we'd have played it slightly differently, but it was where it's a cooler when he hits the queen on the turn.
Yeah, it felt as though he was just trying to bully me off the hand. I thought he might have hit an ace, or maybe it was a queen.
Yeah, he's playing really well, and he's made a couple of quite big folds, but obviously at the time you wouldn't have seen that and known that. We've only just seen one of them. We've got a hand just about to happen here where Sebastian has picked up the aces and 3 bets to 160. No one's really getting out of line on the table, to be honest. There was one guy, Sebastian, actually showed a bluff.
Saw that.
But now
that was quite strategic from him. I remember thinking, okay, that he's just letting us know.
Yeah, but now he's just shown the aces, so he's
mixing it up. He's mixing it up.
It's nice actually, like to be able to keep it friendly and fun, and just. Did it feel like a nice table?
It was a nice table. Everyone was super cool, but to come out first, that's the one thing I didn't want, was to get knocked out in the first round. That's equivalent to getting knocked out in the first round. It didn't,
I know. I mean, it was a cooler there, but So yeah.
I think I wasted a few chips early. I called a couple of times when I shouldn't have done, and I started getting short stacked, but when I lost a little chunk.
That's the thing, you wasn't short stacked.
It felt like I was short stacked sitting next to the chip leader. So I'm sitting next to the chip leader, I'm looking at his stack and looking at my stack, thinking, I've got to make a move.
I think this is what I was trying to speak to you about before, and saying don't feel short. If you lose a few chips, don't sort of go into that, I'm the short stack mode. You have to just think about it in terms of big blinds and understand that the structure is so good on such a long clock that you have to play there.
I could feel the blinds going up quickly. It felt like it was creeping up.
What made you limp? You were limping a lot. Was you going for a limp strategy?
I was trying to limp in, and every time I did it, some people went over the top and raised, and I just wanted them to feel they had the upper hand when I thought I had something, particularly when I had the ace, and then I was calling him, and just a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult when you're
jacks as well. I did it with the jacks as well.
Yeah, I personally prefer coming in for a raise with these hands, because actually you're applying the pressure straight off. You're the one that's putting the decision back on them. Do you want to be in the pot and play for chips, or if you're just limping, you're allowing too many other people to just get in cheaply.
There's more cards on the table, more chance of losing.
So that's something to
for sure,
potentially play about with your game in the future. But like I said, the ace five, the ace queen, cooler hands.
There's
not many people getting away from that.
I didn't expect him to have that. Worse, I thought. I didn't expect him to have that. But there's poker.
Who do you think? Who's your pick on the table now? Then of who's left?
It's either Sebastian on my right, or no, not Sebastian. Yeah,
seat 3.
Seat 3, seat 4, or the geezer with a hat. Seat 7, 8. Sorry. I think C8.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack. He seems to be.
So Jack, Sam, or Sebastian.
They're the ones who I felt.
I picked Sam at the start. I felt like he had a good seat draw. I felt like I thought you two would tango blind on blind a lot, because I know we've been working on blind on blind situations. So I felt there could be some fireworks there, and potentially he could exploit the fact of getting chips that way.
He called me one time.
He had a jack.
Did he really?
He did have the jack.
Okay.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I was right then to fold.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. And seat 1, I know they've both got black hats, but seat 1 with the black hat has a chip lead at the moment.
Is he?
Certainly a little before we started chatting, he became a chip
leader. He knocked me out, didn't he?
He's got good credentials as well. So I mean it's open. Kathy's been quite quiet. She hasn't, I don't think, been involved in any.
No, she's been super quiet. No, she's been super quiet. She's been real quiet the whole time. So she's definitely waiting for something big. But she's got to make a move at some stage. Otherwise, she's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment,
she
has blinded away a few 100,000 now, so it is kind of time to start doing something. I'm not sure
talking to her beforehand, but she said this is the first live poker match she's ever had.
Yeah, I think she was super nervous and stuff. So I actually quite like the fact that she's taken her time to settle in and not rushed into getting involved.
She's thrown anything. Well, she's got pocket twos here, so if she doesn't play this, I don't know what she will. Oh, here she goes. Oh, as soon as we say that, she gets involved.
Do you know what though? The thing with this now is that she can get involved with worse hands, because she's now created this image.
She's got a flush draw.
She's got he's got backdoor. He's got gut shot for a straight, but the thing is with it is she can credibly rep anything now because she hasn't played a hand. So if she bets, they're
going to believe her.
Well, they should. They should, because
first
she hasn't put a bean in the pot. So
she's got in.
But this is where Jack has bet and she's just calling. So dangerous. So he's flopped the gut shot for a straight draw, and now he's turned the flush draw. He's actually got any 8, any jack now, so he's open-ended as well. He could be worried the fact that she called his flop bet though, because he's never got. Oh, there you go. He's hit the flush.
What's she going to do?
She shouldn't be putting any more chips in this pot anyway. I mean, she's got an underpair to the board, so.
It's the first hand she's been in. First hand she's.
Bet.
Feels like it's the first hand she's been in.
I think it is. I think it is. But he will now bet she should just be getting out of here.
What's she going to do?
Remember, he did bet the flop, so he can be repping.
Oh, she's gone all in. No.
Wow.
No. She must have been really feeling it.
Wow.
She's called her.
Gosh, that is.
Yeah, she's way off there. How unlucky is that?
Wrong time to bluff. I mean, ballsy.
Yeah, super ballsy. Super ballsy.
But you can see how it, gets overinflated really quickly there. It's a massive all in that.
So it's
That's
a
lovely
baptism.
that she's going
It's a
round.
baptism of fire. This being her first live poker game. She played everything online. This is all the cameras, the lights, all the crowd is very. That would definitely affect the game for sure.
Wow. Yeah, unfortunate timing there, because do you know what? He can't call with anything else either. If he hasn't got that flush, if say for instance he's flopped a king, he folds that river to that all in.
Yeah,
so
he does.
It's just about the timing as well. Like, she's not picked the best timing for it.
So we have a new chip leader now then.
I think Jack is absolutely miles ahead of anyone else. He's 2.4 million. I think Richard's next stack down with the 1.5. So Steve lost a few early on with pocket fives. He bet a couple of streets with pocket fives. Didn't go broke obviously with her or bet the barrel the river, but he knew to fold. Aaron's playing probably more cautiously with any sort of ace type holding. He's disguising his hand well, he's trapping well, and then he's like leading rivers small to get either paid off or as like a blocker bet.
Okay.
Very, very thin value blocker bets as well. So he's making hands work well for accumulating chips. This is the aggression pre-flop raise aggression factor. So there is a correlation between the aggression and the chip building.
It's one thing I need to work on. I've got a very delicate pre-flop.
Yeah. You're all right. Anyway, so I just want to ask you very quickly, the chat box is asking for any insight into your future plans. So
tomorrow, I'm back here tomorrow. I'm playing again tomorrow, the big
2K?
one. Yeah, the 2K, yeah, 2K, I'm in the 2K.
You're not
tomorrow.
limping?
I ain't limping, I'm going balls deep with every hand.
We've swiftly learned that one.
Yeah.
So we'll see you tomorrow, and obviously part of Team Grosvenor, so you'll see David about all over the place. So
thanks a lot.
Yeah. Lovely to see you.
You too. Take it easy, guys.
So David's off, and I'll turn this camera off now. If I can. So that was David in after unfortunately busting first on his Hayemaker free roll event. Unfortunately he did have a bit of a cooler hand, and as we saw it play out, he actually managed to not lose his whole stack on that particular hand, but then bust out a hand after. So nice for him to come in and actually chat with you all and give you a little rundown of what he's up to and seeing the other players play. Nice that he got to see them. I mean, obviously they would have wanted him on the table a bit longer and have that experience for a little bit longer, but you know, that's poker, isn't it? We never know when that cooler hand is going to hit, and it just shows that actually you're only really ever a couple of hands away from busting a comp. So and next out was Kathy. Unfortunately, just picked the wrong time in for the all-in bluff on the river, but really ballsy move for her to go for it. And you know, if he's not sat there with the flush, then she gets that through. So it's just kind of, again, it's all about that timing. Richard picks up the Cowboys here, raises to 45k. He's got a 1.5 million stack, playing really well, got the chips. We see Steve has called with the King Jack off, which then kind of values Jack in with the Queen 8 off in the big blind. We can see Jack thinking about it. And we go to a flop of ace of diamonds, 6 of hearts, 8 of diamonds. Jack checks, he's hit medley pair. Oh, king of diamonds on the turn, brings in a flush, but we can see Richard, the pre-flop aggressor, has turned a set of kings. So despite the ace having flopped, he now should feel confident that he's ahead, and certainly I would say will bet to find out. Jack looks like he's reaching for chips to take the initiative to lead this turn. We can see it's not going to work, but probably Richard will be calling here, deciding to play the river in position. Unfortunately, that brings Steve in. He's obviously hit the king as well, but he has the diamond in his hand for the redraw. So we'll need to hit a diamond on the river to win the pot. He doesn't, so we can see the kings stay ahead. Jack decides to check. Good check. It's, you know, a little bit of a waving the white flag, but when you've been called in 2 spots on the turn on that kind of board, you now know your Queen 8 is no good. So you have to do that sometimes in poker. You have to just say, okay, I'm not winning here. You can't put good chips after bad, chasing bad. So Richard bets 100k. Nice sizing. I think Jack needs to just fold this hand, especially after he's decided to check the river. He must know that he's, you know, never going to be ahead. He's got middle pair on the board. I know the river doesn't change much, but the turn changed a lot. He does decide to call. He's going to get given the bad news now, and 100k extra is going to go Richard's way off of Jack's stack. So could have maybe prevented putting that extra 100k in. Does the chat box know any of these players? Who do you guys think is going to be lifting that trophy?
Our new level 500, 1000, 1090, 500, 1000, and 1090.
So the blinds now are 10,000, 20,000 with a running ante of 20,000. We have had 38 hands now. So they should be really settling in now. We are now 6-handed. Trig's just coming back into the chat box now, so...
How was he? Was he upset? Fine?
No, he wasn't upset. He's fine. He obviously had the cooler of the ace-5, and I think he was just sort of more gutted than anything else. He didn't want to go out first. He's really
enjoying himself.
He was enjoying it, and he wanted to do well. He didn't want to. No one wants to go out first, do they? Come on, no one wants to go out first. But I think he was kind of just more disappointed than anything else that cooler had happened at that point. Yeah. Because he could have. I think if Jack doesn't hit the queen on the turn and he then starts accumulating chips, he gets to open up his play a bit and actually like settle in and play, whereas it kind of felt a bit premature, his exit really, in that spot. So I think he felt the same. So,
no one wants to see me now.
Anyway.
I understand getting it on for when Dave's in, but what's his plans now? Is he going to stick around, I think? Or
he's playing the 2K tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant.
So that'll be really good. I've told him not to limp. Try and race.
For how many? For the 150th time?
Yeah. It might sink in now. Do you know what?
That might be a blessing in disguise for his
Do you know what I was going to say? That sometimes you actually need to have the disappointment of busting either first or on the bubble is also a good situation to bust in, because actually it's those moments that you remember the most, and it's those moments you learn from the most, because you think, actually, do you know what, I don't want to be in that position again, and I don't want to do that again. So therefore you look at why you was in that position in the first place. And okay, we can sit here and say, right, the ace-5 v the ace-queen ended up being a cooler, but it kind of didn't need to be that situation, you know. So there's definitely
he got himself into
learning curves.
Even though he was unlucky, he kind of chose his own. He went his own path, didn't he? He chose his own path for the hand.
Well, even the fact that he lost a few 100,000 off of his stack unnecessarily early on, really early on with the jacks, and you know, again he had limped and let the the queen 10 was it in cheaply. It was kind of those are the spots you want to avoid. And at the end of the day, there's two ways of winning a pot. You're going to go to showdown, or you're going to put the pressure on and put them to the test of having to call off their chips. You know, if you're only limping, you're kind of eliminating one of the options for yourself. It's never going to turn out good all the time.
Just from a personal perspective, when I started to learn poker, the only thing I was concentrating on was poker. I know you've got your business. So you can only dedicate so much of your brain time towards poker. Exactly. When I was learning the game and progressing through the ranks, poker was everything to me. I spent 95% of my waking time thinking about the game. David's got so many business ventures and his boxing stuff and everything else to do.
He's
so he can only dedicate himself a lot. So even though he's been learning for 2 years to play, in actual real time.
Come in.
But that 18 months really is about probably a week of thinking about the game, whereas
he's not exactly had the best of times of learning it either, because he was under pressure filming a documentary when learning the game, under like really sort of extreme circumstances that other players don't necessarily have or don't have. And then also COVID hits and it all goes online, and he has no online
business going as well.
He has no online experience, and online is vastly different from live. So he had to sort of be thrown in a little bit there, and then it's kind of, you know, all these different dynamics that do change the game. So it's not the easiest of situations.
So we're going to be joined by a guest now. I'm going to leave you for a bit, and we're going to get the Luton GKBT champion, David Doherty. Great lad, and he's going to come and do a bit with Katie for a bit, and then I'm going to have a little break, and then Jane and Tal will be back later on, I guess, won't they?
Yeah,
Once
I think
they're
I'm
fed
going to
and
be
watered.
with Chris Maguire after the break.
Yeah.
So, we've got a few different special guests coming in for you, which is really great for you guys in the chat box. So, although we no longer have David Hay on the table, we certainly still have a lovely dynamic in the comms booth here with different guests and appearances. So, if you've got any questions for any of the special guests coming in, then please sling them in the chat box and we will ask them. So, David will come in now.
Get him in.
I know, I just couldn't count for a minute. I was just like, the blind start. I mean, I've got no, I said haven't changed for what I wanted to do, and it confused me.
So I'm just going to sling the camera on so you can see we have David Doherty, who has just won Luton GUKT main event. So welcome, David. Thank you for coming into the booth. And anyone who's got any questions in for David, then sling them in the chat box, and he doesn't mind answering anything.
There's some things I might not answer. All questions are welcome. I can't guarantee I'll answer everything.
That's true. And he will give us an insight to the hand analysis and this sort of unique situation with the table and the play. So, yeah, sling your questions in.
Can you just talk me through it a little bit, Katie? Like, who's been active on the table? What's been going on?
You know, the setup is the fact that they've all each won a free roll each week online to be here at the invitational event. So they've all gone through about 1,200, 1,500. Some of them have even beat 1,800 players to win their seat
each
here.
Week,
yeah, so it's quite, these sort of final 7 were from around about 10,000 players in total. So, they definitely can play. You know, that's no doubt. It's not easy winning a free roll, is it?
Definitely earned it getting through.
Absolutely. And so we've got Richard King in seat 1 is probably the most known player at the table, I would say. Certainly he's opening, he's probably picking the spots best of all and reading the table well. You would expect that. I'm assuming you'd expect that. I certainly did.
Rich plays like that on every table he's on, let alone one where people are maybe playing on the feature table for the first time, maybe a little bit nervous.
We have Steve in seat 2, not been particularly active, been in a couple of pots, was seen earlier on firing 2 barrels with pocket 5s on like an ace high board, shut down on river, kind of that kind of play. Sebastian in seat 3 was the first player to show a bluff, the only player actually at the table to show a bluff. He managed to get seat 9 to fold pocket 9s on a 7-7-4 board, and he showed ace deuce. A little while later he had pocket aces, he also showed them, so he's kind of mixing it up. He's showing he can do it with or without a hand
as well. He's keeping me guessing.
And he seems really jolly and fun. They're all chatting, they're all lively. Sam in seat 4, another accomplished player. I felt he had a really good seat at the table, I'm going to be honest, because I thought that if David stayed in longer, they would have a lot of blind-on-blind battles. David doesn't like folding easy, doesn't like giving up blinds, and I thought that Sam would read that situation really well. Obviously, David's gone, it hasn't worked out like that, but I feel like he could potentially be a bit of a dark horse with the setup. Then we've got Aaron, who is actually from my local casino in Thanet, in seat 6.
So you know him quite well, yeah?
I don't actually,
you just know he's from your area.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. He was from Thanet. He doesn't play loads of nodes. Sort of a little bit more of a trappy player, so he disguises his hands well by flat calling pre in probably spots that we would take to 3-bet.
Okay.
Did it with like an ace king hand, hit the ace, and in other spots like that he seems to be check calling on flops and turns and then leading on rivers. So, but more of like blocker size betting, almost like he doesn't
see the board first.
It's almost like he doesn't want to inflate pots. In all honesty, that's how I'm reading the situation. He kind of probably thinks he's ahead, but he's just happy to take down little pots and chip away. So that's Aaron, and then Kathy unfortunately bust in seat 7, and seat 8 we have Jack. Jack has made 2 folds where he had the overpair to the board. He had pocket 9s on a 7-7-4 board, and he folded, and he had pocket jacks on a random rainbow board and ended up folding. But it was a 3-way pot, and he was sandwiched. He was sort of stuck in the sandwich where he didn't really know where he was at, I felt. So it was better to fold it out.
Yeah, so he just stayed out of harm's way, really. But he's got the chip lead at the moment. So
he was the one that had the cooler against David with the ace-5. David had ace-5 and flopped ace-5 deuce, I think it was.
Wow.
Jack had 3-bet with ace-queen and turned the queen.
That's pretty sick.
So he accumulated, obviously, a really chunky pot.
Does he get anything for knocking David out?
No, just a ladder up.
They're
all guaranteed that. Exactly, yeah. Well, he actually didn't knock him out. David didn't go broke on the hand. He just crippled him. David actually min-raised the river bet, which wasn't him all in. He had left himself like a couple of 100,000, and then was all in the next hand. So actually, Richard knocked David out, but Jack had done the majority of the work, kind of thing. So that's just a brief overview of the table.
That's a really good overview then. I feel like I've been watching for the last hour. I'd like to say I have been. I've just been watching football instead and trying to rail the high roller final table. But I'm happy to be hopping in here. We got any questions yet?
Just scrolling back. I don't know if you want to go through this all in hand for me.
Sorry I missed this. It looks so it's a short stack shove with the king 7, Richard's call with the king 4 suited. Maybe quite a lot of chops here. The king 7 does advise to skip, but it's going to be a chop pot. And Steve stays in the 2.
Is it what? Yeah, can do. Do you mind if I go out and do that? Yeah. Right, I'm just going to leave you in the very capable hands of David while I just go and do a bit of filming, and I'll be back as soon as. Sorry, David.
That's alright. Let you squeeze out.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm manning the mic on my own. Feel free to fire in any questions, guys. I'm not normally a commentator, let alone doing it on my own. So help me out here. Fire a few words in. Oh, here comes the man himself to save me.
I can't leave you on your own.
Yeah, just when I thought I was going to have to man the mic on my own.
I don't know what Katie's doing, but she's got some man with a camera in her face.
Nothing like being dropped in at the Sunrunner, says, Like Katie's off to do her face up and do some
Absolutely.
Chatting on camera.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm alright, I've got a face for radio. Evening chat box, we've been watching intently on the outer doors. How unlucky was David with the ace-5 against the ace-queen? Oh man.
Yeah, Katie was just telling me about that. Turned by the ace-queen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a bit of a cooler. Bit of a cooler. And then he's just obviously short stacked, he's obviously fuming about it, and then that's it. King 10 and all malarkeys.
So that's kind of interesting. Jack's went for the 3-bet with the Jack 10 suited in the cut-off here. It's usually appeal, but maybe Aaron's opening really wide and he just thinks he's going to get a little bit of fold equity pre. He does take it down against ace-8 off, so it's quite a small 3-bet, but ace-8 off's just a really awkward hand to be peeling 3-bets with, especially as Katie's been saying, it's a table with not a lot of 3-betting going on, so you would expect it to be stronger than Jack high, but Jack picks it up pre-flop.
So what a little punt this afternoon. Nice little market on Grosvenor Sport as normal. 5-1 for Richard King and 13-2 everybody else. Nice book to have a couple of quid on.
Yeah, I've known Rich King for a while.
Supposed to be a bit of a class act.
Is he from Bristol?
I
think I first played with him in Bristol. I'm not sure if he's from there or not. But, yeah, I've known him for a while. I've played with him a bunch online, so I'm not really surprised to see how active he's been so far at this table. He definitely likes to put his chips out there, put them to work.
What have you locked up? 5,000 first prize, second 3,600, third 2,800, 24, 2,000 for fifth, 6th, 7th and 8th. David getting £1,200 for charity. Katie will be back soon. I think she still wanted to do a little bit more of the comms. If not, we'll just bring everybody back.
We do a record commentary stream. Just get everyone in. We'll
Everyone,
get we'll bring Jay back. We'll get Trig and Katie in.
Absolutely.
Get Jamie involved.
We'll get a bench for everybody to sit on.
The commentary bench. I'm just happy to be back in here, mate. Like as you said,
Well, you tried your best not to in Edinburgh.
Well, there was a
Tower, let me go and do some comms. Yeah, no problem, David. Come whenever you want to. Now, what did you do?
Went deep in the comp, didn't
I? One off the final table, or was it final to 11, something like that?
Yeah, 11.
Yeah. And then that was that.
Then I hopped in the commentary box on the FT and then the final table and won the next one.
Do you fancy doing it in Luton? Yeah, no problems. Come in whenever you want to. What did you go and do with that one? Oh, won it.
Won the tournament, yeah.
Every time you say you're going to do some comms, it's like, yep. That's it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad I've hopped in here now because, like, the last time I hopped in, I won the next tournament, and now I'm playing the grand final tomorrow. So
well,
it's gonna happen again.
This could be a 700,000, if not 750 in the prize pool. If it exceeds that, I think we'll have done amazingly well.
So Jack's been in the tank for a little while here with ace 10 suited versus Aaron's big blind 3-bet. He definitely should be calling this hand. We can't see Aaron's cards yet. But his 3-bet is a very small one from the big blind. Generally, if you're Jack's gone for the 4-bet here. Generally, if you're 3-betting as Aaron from the big blind here, you want to disincentivise the in-position player from calling profitably. So you want to go like a minimum of maybe 4x. So Jack's open to 60k. You'd be looking to go to maybe 240 here if you were 3-betting the big blind as Aaron, in my eyes. But Jack's cracked out the 4-bet. I would have personally peeled with ace 10 suited. I think it's perfectly playable in position, but he's gone for the 4-bet here, and Aaron's peeled the 4-bet, and that's a very connected flop for a big blind 3-bet range. So this could get interesting, especially with Aaron having the betting lead here. With Jack having the betting lead, bigger partner. But Aaron's gonna.
Has it been like to Jack Oliver, seat 9?
Is it?
A little bit about him.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not Jack, is it?
It is. Got a little bit about him,
like him, yeah.
Even the old structure.
Yeah, the jawline's intact there as well. Yeah. So Aaron's come straight out betting. This isn't something like Jack's only got ace high here, so he's going to be able to get out of the way. He's got a gut shot, but he's not doing very well against Aaron's ranger. You would expect it's not really something you should be doing as Aaron in that position.
Nice one, David. All the best, young man. All the best. See you soon.
But yeah, Aaron leading out there into the pre-flop 4-better on a king high flop. He's missed out on some value there. I'm going to go ahead and assume he had a value hand, and like you would expect Jack to be c-betting that flop, so he's missed out on a little bit of value there.
So David A just walked in, just set he's off. Unfortunately, eliminated. Quick fist pump and he was gone. I'm sure we'll see him. If we don't see him at the grand final, we'll see him for leg number 1.
I don't know if the cards are updating here, are they?
Yeah, it's just a bit of it sometimes. Oh, I hope. I'll just get the boots in. Oi. Whoa, a bit of a cooler for Sam in seat 4, Sam Barnes.
Yeah, he's going to be hitting life here.
Relative shorty against shorty. Well, Steve, big favourite to double up. Well, the stacks, the chips will just literally swap around.
Yeah, super unlucky here for Sam to run into aces. The only saving grace is that Steve only has 10 big blinds, so.
And I don't even think there's any kings left.
Oh, Oh yeah, I'm looking. I was like, I saw the backdoor hearts. I thought the ace king. I thought the ace king was the one with the heart. Yeah, but the ace is got up.
Pick your hand. So then their 2 chip stacks will reverse. Sam is now shorty on 315.
Yeah, we've got Steve Burson seat too as well. That's a pretty decent shout as well.
It is.
We're still very deep here.
Yes.
The two shorter stacks just get aces v ace king, but that could have been a much bigger pot with like any other 2 players at the table, because I think the average stack looks so it's still around 40 bigs,
which is a lot for an invitational. Picks up the ace king now. He's just had aces, now raising with ace king. What's happening? What's happening here to Steve?
Little mini heater for Steve.
See, we thought there was a typo on the entries, because Steve's surname's Chadwick.
Yeah. I saw it myself.
And we were expecting the guy that's won 40 million to come and sit down.
Now, Dominic Nietzsche showing up in GU KPT Luton was strange enough to me, but Stevie Chidwick playing the Hayemaker free roll would have been legendary, I think. Yeah. I did the same thing earlier. I saw the prices on the book on Twitter, and I had to double glance at it. I thought it said Steve Chidwick.
Yeah, that would have been very interesting if Steve Chidwick could have turned up. So well done to everybody who locked up the money for winning the free rolls. They weren't easy. I cashed in one of them for an amazing £5.70p.
It's all profit, mate.
Absolutely. From nothing.
An infinite ROI. Can't beat that, can you?
From nothing.
Are you saying you could have been sat here?
Well, to be fair, I could have been on the table, but not as much as PK, because PK came second.
Oh wow!
And
that's brutal.
And he was chip leader from like 100 down all the way down to 4.
Who did he lose to?
He doesn't actually either remember or know.
I'm just wondering if he's going to like...
And he didn't realise at the time, obviously it was like 400 for winning it, 260 for second. He didn't realise at the time that it was a 1200 bubble, because you were guaranteed 1,200 when you made the final.
Here,
yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
So, what do you want? It won't fit you, this.
I was just wondering if PK was going to like anti-sweat whoever knocked him out, and maybe do some background stuff, maybe change the hands around, make people look as though they're playing worse than they are, throw a little 7-3 bet in there. Can we have an update of the high roller, please? I was railing it about 20 minutes ago.
All right. Okay.
There's 7 left.
7.
I can't remember everyone who's still in, but if you want an update on a particular person, I can probably give it to you. But Jack Salter's still in, Jack Hardcastle.
We're down to 6.
Gary Miller, 6 currently.
Yeah, it's not been updated on the names, but there are only
Mad
6
Turk
players left.
still in as well. When
Is he really?
Yeah. He was short, but he was still in. But yeah, it's not too far, so I can grab you an update if you want on a particular person. So what we got here, we've got it looks like Jack opened the cut off to 80k, or maybe Aaron, it looks like Aaron limped to hijack with the ace-4 suited. Jack's isolated him. He's got 2 calls behind with the king jack and the ace-4. So 3-weighted 10-10-6 with 2 diamonds. The limpers flop the flush draw. But you would expect a limper in these spots to be wrapped around those 10s pretty often. So if he plays this hand aggressively, I would expect Jack to maybe be in a difficult spot with his 8s. Jack coming on for a 3rd pot C bet, I do like that.
Back.
Right.
Sorry.
You alright, Tiger?
Katie's back with us. You want me to hop out? Or do you want to
Can you stay?
Yeah, I can stay, yeah.
So, get out of town. Back in 5.
So it looks like the ace-4 diamonds check call the flop. after limping pre. He's now turned in up flush. This could be interesting because like we saw Aaron lead without the betting lead into the pre-flop 4-better who was Jack just a few hands ago, but this time he's checked when he's got the nuts. And the 4th diamond on the river, that's going to kill his action. So I'd expect Aaron, he has to come in for a bet here versus Jack's line for sure, but I'd expect him maybe to go on the small size, try and get a crying call from something. It's at 225, a shade under half pot, I think that's okay. I'm just going to take the pot down with the nut flush.
Have I missed much?
You did miss a 4-bet pot.
Oh wow, okay, that's not usual.
And it was an unorthodox 4-bet pot as well.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to remember what who it was between. I think Jack opened with Ace-10 suited under the gun in seat 9, and seat 7 Aaron 3-bet, pretty small out of the big blind. And Jack decided to 4-bet with Ace-10 suited.
Okay.
Aaron then peeled him, and the flop came King Queen 3. Aaron had Ace-10 of clubs, the flop had 2 hearts and a diamond on it, and the big blind then led the flop out of flow, and the Ace-10 just folded. So it was a pretty unorthodox hand.
Yeah.
You'd expect the Ace-10 to peel the 3-bet and the big blind to check the flop, but both players playing out of flow.
Yeah. Is that showing maybe a little lack of experience, you think, or?
I think so. Yeah, it's a sort of play you wouldn't normally expect to see in the main event or so on. Like, I do think the Ace-10 suited had a pretty clear call of the 3-bet.
Right.
The 3-bet was a little too on the small side as well, so
okay.
most of what Jack was opening would have been able to call profitably in position.
Okay.
But Jack went for a 4-bet, which he can do with some hands. I'm not sure I would have done it with Ace-10 suited, but
yeah,
it can certainly work.
Sizing definitely is so important in the 3-betting and 4-betting.
Well,
I actually made a mistake myself the other day. We're not betting big enough in my 3-bets squeeze play, so it's one of them that the understanding of the importance of that is. Well,
I think the interesting thing is, if you're playing players frequently who also, aren't selecting correct sizes pre-flop, or just to take this hand in isolation, like an out of position 3-bet versus an opener. If you're playing other players who aren't choosing those sizes correctly, then you're not going to notice that any errors are being made because those players aren't going to adjust to it. It's when you make the step up and play maybe a GUKPT main event, if you're missizing those bets, making it too profitable for people to call you in position, then you're going to start getting yourself in tricky spots.
Definitely, I 100% agree with that, and I think that's where it does show a different level.
Yeah, so in that hand, Jack opened to 60k and the big blind 3-bet at a 30k big blind. The big blind 3-bet to 155k. So that's just it's 2 on the small side. You want to go maybe to 240 or so.
Yeah, looks like Sam has just called on the button here. He looks like he's pretty short now, right? 210k or 240.
Sam got coolered actually. He got Ace King and against Aces.
Okay. Right.
So he's got 8 big blinds left, but yeah, like you would.
But it's good to have something left, right, in them cooler situations that it's not your tournament life. You can now try and spin it up, flatting on the button with 8 bigs.
Well,
what do you think of that?
That's the thing. He can try and spin it up, but like nearly his whole range here should be shoving. Like I can't, even if he's trapping. Like given how this hand's played out, there's no way he's trapping anymore. But even if you're trapping with aces pre or whatever, you're sort of like pushing your luck a little bit.
Yeah.
I think most of his range should just be shoving pre here.
I've just had this, and it looks like he's thinking of betting now. So counting his stack out, perhaps unaware of his stack size pre. Looks like he's gone.
Looks like he's bet around half his stack on the river, maybe around 90k or so. Oh, it's
50k,
smaller than that,
small. We can't see his cards, but I mean,
yeah, we can't see them, but I'm trying to think of what makes sense here. Maybe a hand like 9-10 for like not makes sense in terms of
Jack 10.
What would be correct, but what he might have.
King,
Jack Hardcastle.
Queen Jack.
He's gone.
Just been eliminated.
Oh no.
On a 13-minute hand.
13
Wow.
13 minutes.
Oh,
Tal was talking about the high roller event that is also going on. 5 left. Jack's just been eliminated in 6. 13-minute hand.
13-minute
wow.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to hear about that for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Jack Salter took him out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it took 13 minutes.
Oh, right, still in. Right, actually, had still in. Is it Chris Miller?
Gary Miller.
Gary Miller.
Yeah.
And Jesse somebody. So there you go. That's the update. I feel like a blogger again.
Back to the what was it? The World of Poker days. AWOP days. Yeah. So we see Jack has picked up the Ace King off here, raises to 70k, nice raise. Richard has got to call off 40k with the King 10. Blind on blind situation, so I can see him calling here. It's, you know, pretty easy.
Yeah,
call,
again, like this is maybe a slight sizing thing. Like blind versus blind, you want to be disincentivizing the in position player to call you. So with a 30k big blind here, although Jack's got a really strong hand and he maybe wants to keep Rich in with dominated hands, he really wants to be going at least 90 and probably closer to 120 here. Blind versus blind, particularly this
He's
deep.
got to play it out of position, and he also doesn't. Yeah, you don't want to, you know, allow the big blind in cheaply. They've already got their blind in, and a lot of people with the ante in now also sort of take that into account.
It's just pure value, isn't it, as well? You've got Ace King, you want to get chips in the middle, and like against a player like Rich, who is going to be very sticky. I mean, he's got a clear defend here. No matter what Jack made it pre, Rich should be defending
Similar
the King 10 off.
Sizes
but,
as well. I think, are these still the 2 chip leaders at the table? Am I right in thinking that?
I believe they are, yeah. Well, the Aces versus Ace King hand was both of the short stacks, so I don't believe that anyone has more chips than these two.
So the Ace High will win it if he can get to the showdown. This is a spot where I actually think that Richard could take it away from Jack if Jack shows weakness, which he now does. He does check behind.
Yeah.
I think if Richard had thought about that longer, he potentially could have taken that away from him. Do you think?
I think it's just a case of because Jack raised so small pre-flop that the pot isn't that big, and Rich does have a fair bit of showdown value with King High there, or he should do.
True.
So he might feel like because the pot's not that large and he's got some showdown value that he doesn't really have to bluff with that hand.
Okay.
Whereas he might do it if he had like Jack 10 and he's got Jack High, he might start bluffing to try and fold out Jack's King Highs or Ace Highs.
Yeah, it's a really valid point actually.
But yeah, like I agree with you. I think if Rich had bet the river, like he would have won the pot. But he maybe just thought his hand was just strong enough, to
check back. It was a very quick check back.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that if potentially thought about it a little longer, he might have seen the weakness in Jack's check and been able to pounce on that really. Yeah. So Sebastian here with the Ace Queen suited.
Monkey Magic was asking if any of the players left had any notable previous cashes. I'm not sure of the other players, Monkey Magic, but Rich King has got $368,000 worth of cashes on the Hendon Mob. He's a well-experienced player. His biggest cash is over 100k. So he's definitely the most experienced player on the table. I'm unsure about the other guys. I don't know surnames in order to check that out for you. But Rich would be. I think Rich was the betting favourite at the start of the day, and I think that's probably going to play out throughout the rest of the tournament. I would expect Rich to be one of the favourites to get heads up anyway, with his experience. I was saying, Katie, I don't know anyone on this table apart from Rich, but I don't recognise the guys, so I'm guessing this is their first time on the feature. They may well be going for a break as well, actually. They're all putting their jackets on. Are we on a break?
Yeah. 15-minute break.
Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, the players are taking off for 15 minutes, guys. So,
so
yeah, we'll catch you back in 15.
Back in 15.
Supposed to pop in the elevator and be gone, but he's run, and now he's like only 10 feet behind me, and I'm like, oh my god. And so I knew what to say. I'm like, hey, congratulations on your marriage. He's like, thanks, Phil. How's it going? What are you doing? I'm like, holy shit. MJ ran to catch up with me and wants to and you know, we'd hung out a couple times, and starts asking me all these questions. We take the elevator up together. We talked the whole time. It was just really nice. And then so fifth place in this tournament, in the heads up tournament, Michael Jordan running to catch up with me. I just hosted Tigers event, and I wake up the next day and my friend says, hey, President Obama, he was still president, President Obama was at my house drinking wine and was asking how you're doing in the World Series of Poker. I'm like, President Obama, you know, the vortex, people come up to me 100 times a day.